Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it is another one of these bot author recommended replays. So, someone who programs a bot saw this game and thought, hey, that's pretty cool. And now maybe we will do the same. So, in the top right, we have got Raiden P, a bot that I haven't cast in a while. And in the top left, it's going to be Zozo, the aggressive Protoss bot. Zozo, known for making a lot of stalkers and just attacking, whether it be a good idea or a bad idea. And so we're on the map Equilibrium, the AI edition. We've got a bit of a probe scout from Zozo. Actually, 2 probe scouts. This is something that's quite common as far as these bots go, is that they all look around for generic proxies, it seems. Seems kind of like a fairly decent catch-all to prevent you just getting cheesed to death. And so, yeah, we have got just double gas for both these Protoss bots. No surprise, it's a PvP. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and slap that like button. Give it a poke. Or just shake the like button's hand. I don't know. Leave a comment down below that says more bots if you want to see more of these bots. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. And consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support this channel. We have got the pylon getting thrown down by Zozo. So well, making Raiden pull 5 probes off the line. One of them not actually attacking that. So losing a little bit of efficiency there. But it is one of those things that if you program a bot, you're generally going to program it to attack any pylons that are inside your own base. It's not a bad idea. And yeah, we have got that Nexus going on up for Raiden, Nexus going up for Zozo, so it is a gentleman's agreement between these 2 bots to macro up a little bit. We've got a Robo on the way for Raiden, a battery on the way for Zozo, so Zozo playing it a little bit more safe. And yeah, we'll have to see what the strategy is going to be between these 2. Equilibrium is quite a long walking distance. One of these horizontal maps, and there's not a ton of those. So it's interesting to see how this will play out. We've got a Stargate going up for Raiden. And then just, yeah, looks like Zozo doing its usual thing, getting out 2 stalkers already. I imagine there's going to be a 3rd and a 4th on the way soon. Currently a 3rd. There's the 4th. Queuing up a couple of probes, wait until that Nexus is finished up. And then gonna get mining on that expansion, and both bots are just, yeah, macroing up. No early harassment or anything like that. And a small note for those of you that are interested in these bot games, I know a couple days ago I did do a video of me casting a bot versus the default Starcraft 2 AI, and I definitely am gonna cast more of those when some more of those replays get sent my way. So if you're a bot author and you happen to be listening, feel free to submit a replay of your bot playing against the default SC2 AI. I think that would be a fun one to cast. An observer is moving across the map for Raiden, so making use of that robo, so it'll be able to see what it's going up against. However, if it's watched any Zozo games, it will know that it's probably going to be going up against a big old stalker push, because that is what Zozo does best. That is what Zozo does altogether, pretty much. We do have a 3rd Nexus going up for Raiden. Getting up a 2nd battery at that natural, just 1 Void Ray on the way, no Immortals coming out just yet. If you guys ever play PvP, I think an incredibly fun style to play is Void Ray Immortal, because it's just like having like the most powerful, most damaging units in the game under your command. So we'll see if Raiden does mix in Immortals or if it'll just be Void Rays that it's going for here. And with the 2nd Stargate on the way, I get the feeling it is just going to be Void Rays. third Nexus is going up for Zozo, so Raiden maybe doesn't have to worry about too much of a push just yet. We are, however, seeing an Immortal get on the way, which is a good thing against a bot that's currently got 9 Stalkers out. There's a Forge on the way as well, potentially for +1 for Zozo. And, yeah. Probes still running around all over the place. Yet another battery going up for Raiden. That could be very important. A Prism is going up for Zozo. This will probably be used to go for its aggression. We've seen good Prism Micro in the past out of Zozo. However, as time goes on, this gets a little bit scarier. With more Void Rays on the way, more Immortals on the way, it's really going to depend potentially how a fight goes on the positioning of this Void Ray Immortal army, because if the Void Rays and Immortals are next to a battery, and if a battery overcharge gets popped, it could just be a slaughter for Zozo. However, if Raiden is a little bit away from those batteries or doesn't use its battery overcharge, it could be very concerning. We do have a second Immortal on the way now. As those pop out, it's going to get better and better for the blue bot, because they just scale so much better than Stalkers, at least in human games. Maybe that's not true for bot games, because like the reason why Stalkers get worse and worse is because you can't possibly micro all of them, but I guess a human player or a bot could potentially micro them all. We do see these Void Rays engaging into these Stalkers, and unfortunately they are like 2 feet away from their batteries, so this is just going terrible for Raiden. What could have been just a total massacre of these Stalkers turns into a not massacre. One of those Immortals pulled back, but it was not the injured one. This last guy is going to hold down the fort and kill all those Stalkers off. 11 Stalkers for 1 Immortal and 4 Void Rays. I think that's about as good as Zozo could hope, because, like, if that was next to a battery, that would have been, like, maybe a dead Void Ray, and all the Stalkers would have been dead. We are now seeing Zozo gear up for another round of attack. It's got its own Immortal in with this. The 2 batteries are going to be very important for defending this third for Raiden. What does it have out presently? It's got 2 more Void Rays out, but oh man, once again, they are not going to fight next to the batteries. Okay, looks like they do pull back a little bit. One of them is being juiced up by that battery, so is the second one. That's really important. They do have their prismatic alignment being researched. The Immortal can't really help out too much against the Void Rays, and all the Stalkers are getting melted here. So it looks like Raiden holds on again, holds on into getting up its own 4th base. However, there's a 4th for Zozo, so these two really are having a gentleman's agreement just to expand and just to fight. None of that harassment kind of thing going down. The Void Rays are starting to move on out for Raiden, which is a little bit concerning. One of them is quite injured and may go down, and even the Immortal on the ground does perish, so Zozo packing a punch, kills off one of those Void Rays, may get yet another. The Prism is microing these Stalkers decently well. However, unfortunately, it's pretty hard to micro Stalkers against Void Rays and Immortals, just because they kill everything so darn quickly. We do see this one Immortal all juiced up, wants to go for an attack. There's only 2 Stalkers on the ground for Zozo against 3 Void Rays, and they don't actually have high ground vision right now, which is a little bit concerning. Stalkers are back at home next to a battery, so the battery tables have turned. An overcharge is actually popped, which is good to see. Those Void Rays are getting injured. Looks like one of them will go down. A second one almost goes down. However, the Stalkers pull back for whatever reason. Looks like this guy wants the glory, and he does get it, as another one of those Void Rays perishes, as Raiden probably would have been better off to just sit back at home. It did not do that, however. We've got 3 Immortals out, so the ground army is very significant for Zozo. This Immortal out on the map, for some reason, going to get killed off. We see Void Rays flying across the skies. Just should not be out here, as they're actually getting picked off one by one when they need to be grouping up. Raiden is in attack mode. The Void Rays do have +1 attack, but in small numbers, Stalkers do pretty well against Void Rays. We see this Immortal, yeah, mixed into the fight, but he's by himself. We see 5 Void Ray production at a time for Raiden, which is just ridiculous. We'll see if it's going to be enough. Stalkers are microing against this one Void Ray. One of them goes down as this Immortal comes in and deletes them. And he's going to be looking for a lot of blood as there's another injured Stalker. Doesn't quite finish it off, though. And oh my gosh, what even is this game? I hope my observing for this one is okay, guys. As 5 Stalkers find another one of the Void Rays. One of them's running away, running for the hills. We've got, yeah, just 4 bases up for Zozo, 5 up for Raiden, both of them just pumping out as many units as possible. There is shields on the way for Zozo, so that will help its efficiency in these fights a little bit. And right now it looks like Raiden is on the defensive, but that's generally where things turn around. The defender's advantage in these bot games is huge, and we are seeing that as there's like 5 Void Rays here just cutting up those Stalkers like a hot knife through butter with that prismatic overcharge. Or prismatic alignment, pardon me. And yeah, that was a terrible attack for Zozo. Zozo has got a lot of money in the bank, though, and so it can definitely keep producing these units. It's adding on more and more gateways to allow more and more Stalkers to be made at a time. It is a little bit concerning, though, that the scoreboard kind of got reset there, as it's presently 8 Void Rays to 12 Stalkers. And I don't know if that's enough for Zozo. Raiden's also getting up a 6 base, so it's got a little bit more expansion behavior in it. This 6 could potentially go down, and we'll have to see how the micro is against this. Void Rays are fanning out. That could allow them to potentially be picked off, or at least allow a couple to be picked off. One does go down against these Stalkers. It's still more than enough for Raiden to defend this, though. And Zozo, I think, is in a bit of trouble. It's one of those things that looks like either the attack works for Zozo or it doesn't. And you generally know fairly well on, and looking at the supply, I think things are looking mighty rough for the red bot. As the mass Void Rays does eventually win out. They are going on the offensive now, but look at this. There's already 3 Void Rays here. There's like another 5 flying on over, and there's not enough Stalkers to defend against this. I don't think, as I say that, though, I mean, it's defender's advantage. It's pretty darn big. The Stalkers do pick off quite a few of those Void Rays. Void Rays, however, are in the main base, but oh my gosh, there's just action everywhere as Stalkers are popping out right into the battle, and these Void Rays are a little bit outnumbered in the main base, and the Stalkers and Void Rays, they actually deal bonus damage to each other because Void Rays, they are armored. Stalkers deal extra damage to armored units. Stalkers, they're armored. Void Rays deal extra damage to the Stalkers, so it's just so much damage on both sides. Looks like that Assimilator may get saved there, as these Stalkers do come in, but no, the Void Ray actually does target that down. Not sure what prompted that, but that was absolutely the right decision. We'll see if Zozo even has the behavior to replace a destroyed Vespene Geyser. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. We do have a random Immortal having walked across the map, runs into a bunch of Stalkers. They will happily kill that Immortal. We see the 5th base going to be going down for Raiden, it looks like, as probes are getting shot at. Everything's getting shot at. A Void Ray wanders on out, gonna get saved by that battery for actually way too long, dealing lots of damage there, and I'm not sure that Zozo's gonna get this base after all. We are still seeing skirmishes in the middle of the map. Army supply has actually swung in favor of Zozo. Did I speak too soon about this game, as the Stalkers are really grouping on up here, picking off the Void Rays? Raiden's focused on getting up yet another base when really it just needs to be taking a bit better fights. Looks like it does pick off quite a few of these Stalkers. It also saved this Nexus. It's going to get up another battery or another pylon there, probably for another battery. In come more Stalkers for Zozo. They are getting good shots off. I'm amazed at how much damage Stalkers deal to Void Rays in this situation. I mean, the Stalkers are still paying the price, as I mean, they do get another Void Ray. 38 dead Voids to 82 Stalkers. That's actually not a bad ratio, I don't think. Okay, what are we looking at here? Unfortunately, Zozo has yet to take another base, so eventually it will run out of minerals if this game goes on longer and longer, whereas Raiden does have those extra bases up. So we'll see if Zozo can break ground before it runs out of time, so to speak, over with 5-6 Void Rays and an Immortal shooting away, and what is a killing zone that narrow choke point, those Void Rays just kill off everything. And that was not a pretty engagement for Zozo. By gosh, if those Stalkers don't say, though, that they're going to try again. And this fight does go a little bit better for them. The Void Rays really are not target firing, I think, is a big part of this. As, like, all the Stalkers are almost at the same HP. Like, lose their shields at the same time. So, like, when they die, they all just pop pretty much instantly. But when they're in a fight, they actually survive a bit longer than they should, I suppose. And looks like Zozo continuously trying to push on in. However, Raiden is holding firm, and Raiden is expanding yet again. Just spending all its money, having a bit better back row than Zozo. Zozo, which is starting to burn through its bank, making 8 Stalkers at a time. Never getting armor is an interesting thing. I guess it's not too significant, but it's just like, why not? We are seeing quite a large attack get queued on up here for the red Protoss. The Void Rays are in quite a strong defensive position. Once again, though, the concave here is huge as Stalkers are just getting gunned down so fast. And yeah, this is a disaster for Zozo. It was quite a big Protoss ground army, but the Void Rays are just melting absolutely everything. If that fight was more out in the open and the angle was better, it could have gone better for Zozo. However, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It definitely did not. We do see another Nexus going on up, however. Is this a Raiden Nexus? Yes, it is. It's actually a Raiden Nexus, not a Zozo Nexus. Zozo is not programmed to go by more than 4 bases. We are now seeing Zozo on the defensive. This is where things have generally swung in favor of the defender. All those Void Rays are moving out on the map. I'm not sure where they are going. However, it is leaving Raiden a little bit exposed as just a couple of the units out here get caught. Are those Void Rays coming on home? It looks like they're actually just hard-pressed, or they're committed to go for an attack. This is going to turn this into a bit of a pseudo base trade, it looks like. I mean, I'm pretty sure Void Rays win in a base trade in a situation like this. However, you never know, as the Stalkers could potentially pick off a Void Ray here, and one Void Ray at a time. That's where Zozo's got to start. In comes this attacking red Protoss army, even unpowered a Stargate amidst all this chaos. Now, probes are having their mining be denied as Zozo attacks on in. And I honestly thought this game was going to be over like 5 minutes ago, but here it is still going. We are seeing that Prism microback the injured Stalkers, which is really darn important. However, some Void Rays are now coming from behind. Can Zozo take a fight that it needs to? This is quite a nasty surround by Void Rays. Those Stalkers staying alive due to the Prism micro, actually. But when they start to die, they start to die, and that is exactly what we've seen here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the Void Rays are still doing work. Very interesting micro back and forth, but it's looking pretty darn good here for Raiden, as Zozo hasn't really lost too much, but it's down 100 supply. It's broke at this point, having burned through its massive bank. And yeah, I think the conclusion of this one was fairly apparent not too, like, 5-10 minutes ago, but it did go on a lot longer than I thought it would, so it just goes to show how Zozo's strategy, while it looks a little linear at times, it still can get work done. Like, it killed 64 Void Rays this game. Not bad. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. And if you do want to support the channel, check out those YouTube member perks. Battery overcharge is so good. Zozo's still fighting. It's still fighting. It's got a bit of money to keep mining. However, there is a lot of Void Rays in its main base. There's the battery overcharge again. Oh my gosh, that is just crazy how good that is. Kinda cinematic, all these Void Rays. Raiden randomly adds on a fleet beacon. Thanks for watching.